All right, it was an eventful weekend in Eugene. We had the spring game, we had the NFL draft, records being broken for the Ducks. To break it all down, we had to bring in our good friend, the one and only Joey Harrington. Joey, what's going on, brother?
How we doing?
Doing good, man.
You awake over there,
What's
Stu?
I am. It is 2:04 p.m. Eastern, and
Got up about an
I
hour.
got up at 5 o'clock this morning. Got my workout, did my things that I need to do,
Do
run
your
some errands.
squats for about 400 or 500 on the squat.
No squat. No. Although I'm trying to get back into my 225-pound rep weight fitness type thing. Like I realized 2 weeks ago I put 225 on the rack. I was like, oh, I'll get 10 reps in. And boy, 10 reps was an absolute workout.
How many times did you used to do that?
I mean, it would be more like, okay, 225, I'll do like 5 sets of 8 and it would be okay. Man, I was struggling with that 10, just one set. So I got to, get back to some type of level of athleticism.
I can honestly say that I think it has been a decade since I stepped in a squat rack.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
What's that next time going to be? You got that knee surgery recovery. How's that been going?
A couple knee surgeries. I used to love to power clean. Like that was my deal. And then I had the wrist reconstruction and you can't do it. And then it's like, then the knee goes and then it's like, and so.
Did Jimmy Ratcliffe lab rat you into the cleans?
Oh, I was a clean machine. I could never. I think we talked about this one time. I was talking with someone about bench press, and it was during the combine, and talking about how many times they did. The guys did 225 on the bench at the combine, and I was like, yeah, I did it once. And you did the bench reps at the combine one time. I was like, no, I did 225 once.
I did it once, one rep.
What do you mean? One? No, I was like, no, one time at one point in my life, I did one rep at 225.
I maxed out at 225.
Maxed out. That's crazy.
Actually, one of the assistant strength coaches with Rad slipped a couple 2.5s on there as I was getting set. And so it was actually 230. I didn't know it, but I was never a big bench press guy. I was the power clean,
You and Kellen Clemens. He was my weightlifting partner my freshman year.
Really?
And I realized he was so strong, bro. Like he was I think he maxed out at 350 cleans.
Clean, yeah. We used to.
And I'm just like, wow. So I obviously have to be higher than 350.
It was me and Fife and Kellen. We would lift together.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, Kellen would throw those. I mean, he was pushing 300 as a freshman.
Yeah,
that was big. So yeah,
country strong boy.
We got a few more years of that stuff, Stu. So enjoy it. Give him that squat rack while you can.
Yeah, I'm doing the front squats. I'm away from the back squatting. Trying to do the front squat so that way I don't go heavy.
5?
No. So I was talking about bench pressing.
Oh God.
Yes, that's why I was saying 10 reps of bench press. 225 back in I used to be able to
I was gonna say, I feel like you should be able to squat.
Oh no, I can squat 400 pounds tomorrow if I needed to, but I'm not ever going to do it again. But as far as my squat routine is all front squats. Like every now and then I'll get into the little machine, sit down, put an extra weight on there, but I'm a front squat guy.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we cleared that up. I was losing a little bit of respect. The 225 squat.
We were talking about a squat.
That's far off.
In 225, I thought we were talking about a squat. So all right.
No, man, bench press, baby.
Okay, that's better. All right, well, now that we got that cleared up, we can get into what we came here to talk about today. There was, like I said in the intro, a ton that happened. I mean, from the spring game to the NFL draft, everything. Joey, what captured your attention most this weekend? Was it Oregon's record-breaking performance in the draft with 10 guys drafted, or was it the spring game? Which were you more interested in?
Well, the question originally that you asked was what captured my attention this weekend. And the OISA U16 soccer tournament captured my attention.
Yes.
Then there was the Wrexham promotion, which captured my attention. I would say between the two, and we've talked about this before. I hate the spring game. I really do. Like, I get it. I understand why you play the spring game. But there are so many things between the just get through without getting injured. It's going to be vanilla because you don't want to show anybody anything. All you're trying to do is make sure that everybody walks out of there, feeling like they have a chance for fall camp, so half your roster doesn't transfer. Like, there's so many different things that just make it kind of frustrating. That I was impressed with the 10 guys getting drafted. I mean, that talks about, you can look at it two ways. One, you can say Oregon is developing talent. With the transfer portal, is that really true? There's some element to that. And or you could also say that Oregon has become a place where guys like that want to play, right? And I think that's more of the accurate statement, right? For the better part of 2 decades, we were trying to, scrap for relevance. Like, we get a little table scrap every once in a while, and then it's like, hey, pay attention to us. How about us over here? And we've hit the point now where players around the country, when they're looking for the preeminent place to go play, where do I want to finish my career? They're coming to Oregon. And unfortunately, it hasn't directly translated into that national championship that we've all been looking for, but we're close. We're getting there.
Close.
We're very close. Yeah, I think this weekend, I was definitely happy about seeing the 10 guys go. But to your point, it's not necessarily, we're not in a stage of developing athletes. We're more so about developing an atmosphere, climate, an opportunity to take it to the next level. That's what guys really want. When you're going to college, yeah, you want to go to the good college and get good grades and all that. But to be honest, I want to go to the spot where I'm going to get projected to the league. So, I think Oregon should be very pleased of having 10 guys, making a case of if you want to be a pro athlete, you'll be well prepared by going to the University of Oregon.
That is an interesting point. I mean, that is nobody is developing athletes anymore, right? Yeah. Developing an athlete, you're developing them to get ready to transfer somewhere else, right? That's the reality of college football now. And so I hadn't heard that point. Like, we have developed a culture that says if you want to be a professional, if you want to compete, have a chance to, show what you got against the best in the country, then Oregon is a place that you can do that. And I think having 10 guys drafted in the NFL, I mean, we had 6 guys drafted my senior year. That was, I believe, a record at the time. And it was, it was filled with a bunch of guys who scrapped their way there, right? Guys who, turned down a gray shirt at Air Force to come on as a freshman at Oregon and ended up, getting drafted. Now it's guys that are 4-star, 5-star. I mean, these are the guys that are preeminent high school players. Maybe they go somewhere else and they realize that Oregon is the place to finalize the dreams that they've had for a long time.
But I'm trying to think of off the top of my head, I'm trying to think about how many of the 10 guys drafted started their careers at Oregon. Harmon did not. Connerly did. Terrence did. Caldwell did not. Jordan did. Dillon did not. What? Jordan James. Sorry. Jordan.
James.
Yes. Jordan Birch did not. Jordan James did. Dillon Gabriel did not. Trayshawn Holden. Well, Tez did not.
Did not.
A lot of the guys that got signed as UDFAs afterwards did not. So yeah, it's
funny.
So like 3 guys,
3 or 4. Yeah.
I look at a guy like Tez, and I immediately think that he did. Right.
I know. Right. It seems like it.
I was like, oh no, Tez. Oh no, that's right. He came in. He was Troy, right?
Came from Troy. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, we're at a point now where if you spend, I logically know that Bo started Auburn, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you spend 2 and especially 3 years at a place, like we're at a point where it's like, oh no, they're a lifer.
Yeah, how do you determine a lifer? Is it 2 years, 3 years, 4 years?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, a lot of non-Oregon fans or Oregon haters on social media will take what we just said and say, "Oh, these guys didn't spend their whole time at Oregon. You didn't develop them. Like, you guys don't get credit for putting them in the NFL." But it's like, you look at a lot of their projections before they came to Oregon and then where they ended up. It's like, there was quite a bit of development. These guys probably were not going to get drafted, if not drafted as high as they did before coming to Oregon and spending 1, 2, 3 years here.
Yeah. Great point.
I mean, look at Derek Harmon's a perfect example. At Michigan State, I don't think he would have been a first-round pick if he stuck at Michigan State for 1 more year. But he
There's
came in and
why you're leaving, right?
Yeah.
If you're leaving a situation, you're leaving for a reason. And maybe it's because Oregon will give you a better opportunity to shine, or maybe it's because they didn't think they were getting developed or weren't getting an opportunity, or whatever the reason was be. But there's a reason that someone leaves a place. If a place was a great place for them to be, to get drafted in the first round in the NFL draft, then they probably would have stuck around.
Yeah.
If you want to get drafted, go to Oregon.
Yeah.
Basically
Absolutely.
what Joey's saying.
I was going to do NFL draft stuff at the end, but since we are kind of already in it, let's move this up in my personal rundown. So with 10 guys drafted, as I mentioned earlier, program record, what was your guys' favorite quote unquote fit for an Oregon player? Who do you think landed in the best spot? J. Stu, I want to start with you.
T. Ferg.
You think so?
Yeah. Terrence Ferguson. I mean, the Los Angeles Rams are they're in this moment where they're in this space where they're always almost forgotten about during the season. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, they have Stafford and he was hurt or something along the lines in early season, and now he's back, and then they're firing off cylinders, right? Last year, they were a couple of plays from being very contentious in the playoffs. And so you add him to the mix. A tight end is a quarterback's best friend, right? I mean, you're in trouble and you're looking over the middle of the field and you need some help. Got somebody blitzing off the left side and you just need to get rid of it. There's your tight end across the middle of the field. So he has an opportunity to be someone's safety valve, and he's got great poise. He understands spacing, it seems like, to where I think those things that are needed out of your number one tight end, those things will come naturally to him.
Well, and McVay said that he came out, I think, on Friday and said that, we almost took him in the first round. Like we were real. This guy was near the top of our board. So, they think highly of him. They're going to utilize him a lot.
Oh yeah.
I had to go to the phone just to, just double check. I'm going to give 2, but I'm going to stick with my original, which was Derek Harmon. That guy in Pittsburgh. I mean, it's just like, as soon as they drafted him, I was like, oh yeah, there we go. It's
of course.
It's that stout defensive front. He's going to fit right in and be the guy that, that was the logical, or I should say, I don't want to say stereotypical, but that was a Pittsburgh type of pick.
And just think about the guys that are around him that'll help him develop, right?
Cam Hayward, TJ Watt. Oh my gosh, what a good
the
situation!
Ceiling's so high for him.
Mm-hmm. The one that has me intrigued is Tez. Right.
I'm glad you brought this up.
So Tez is never going to be a number one, right? He doesn't have the size. He doesn't, and at his size, he doesn't have the pure speed. But I played with a guy, Wes Welker, and I was with Wes. Ran into him probably actually at the combine, and we were catching up. I was like, Wes, you didn't get invited to the combine, did you? He's like, nope. What did you run at your pro day? He said, I ran a 4.6. But the thing that I always knew when Wes was there is he studied. He understood it like I understood it. He got up to the line of scrimmage, and he would be able to tell me, we get back to the huddle. Hey, what did you see? Hey, I saw 2 safeties. Okay, so it means Mike's going to drop, which means there's going to be a hole in here. So I had to work off the outside backer's leverage. He went wide. I snuck inside, found my zone. Boom, right? Having a guy, you talk about a tight end, a guy like that. For me, it was Wes Welker. Like, he was the ultimate guy like that. Tez reminds me of Wes. Incredibly smart, incredibly hardworking. And you know what? He's not afraid to go over the middle. And he's actually faster than Wes is, right? So if you get a guy like Mike Evans outside, a guy like Baker, who has been around the league a little bit, he knows what to expect from guys. Tez can latch into there and just learn and learn and learn and learn and work. Like, I love that landing spot for Tez because he has someone to take the pressure off outside. He has a quarterback who is established and smart and a good leader. And it's a stable situation where he can step in and fill a hole and thrive.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, because there's the concerns about his size, obviously, that he can, compete at this level at such a light weight. But, like you said, he's not going to be your wide receiver 1 ever, but he can be a great gadget player. And when you look at the other guys in that room, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Emeka Egbuka, Jalen McMillan, Tez Johnson, Sterling Shepard, there are so many guys that, he's not going to have 6, 7, 8 catches a game, but he can have 3 catches for 80 yards and 2 touchdowns because, any given week, because
there's value to, not that those guys won't go over the middle, but I'm telling you, as a quarterback, if your wide receiver, if your slot receiver understands coverage as well as you do and isn't afraid to, one, get into the correct spot and then make a tough catch in traffic, that is a huge thing. He has an opportunity to learn, to be that guy that is the over the middle type of player for him. And that's, again, 3-4 tough catches a game. That's a fantastic place for him to be right now.
Yeah, especially we talk about fast, right? I think a lot of people get fast and then fast feet. Totally misplaced.
Quick and fast.
We don't want guys that are linear fast. I don't care about how fast you are once you catch the ball 30 yards downfield. But if you got fast feet, meaning we're in the red zone and you can make somebody shake, like Hunter Renfrow. Carolina Panthers just picked up Hunter Renfrow because he has the ability to make guys feel like they're in quicksand in the red zone, right? To your point, that's a safety valve. That the quarterbacks love guys that are just open and know how to get open, but understand defenses enough to get open when things are defenses call great plays too, right? But you got to figure out how to win against those plays.
Those guys get paid too.
Yeah. So the chess pieces might match you identically, but at some point you're gonna have to figure out how to wiggle out. And so having Tez out there, that's a good look for Tampa.
I was also just very happy with where Josh Connerly landed. I think that he's in a good situation with Washington. They just got Laramie Tunzel in free agency this year, so I don't think he's going to be asked to be their left tackle, obviously, which would be a big spot for him as a rookie. But he can be versatile and go to left guard, maybe go to right tackle if he needs to as well. But once you're on a playoff contender, potential NFC Championship, Super Bowl contender with Jaden Daniels, I think that's just a really good platform for him to build off of.
Yeah, agreed.
Let's, Joey, I want your thoughts on this. What do you make of the whole Dillon Gabriel Shador Sanders situation? It feels strange that they, took Gabriel in the third, passed on Sanders like the whole draft, third, fourth, finally took him in the fifth. When they already had Gabriel, it kind of, to me, just from the outside looking in, kind of feels like a train wreck waiting to happen. I'm just curious what you think on it as a former NFL quarterback who has been a part of these, crowded quarterback rooms and people fighting for their spots.
I had my immediate reaction was, what the hell? Like,
yeah.
And then I thought about it. If you're Cleveland, who's your quarterback?
Joe Flacco.
Really? Who is it?
Joe Flacco.
It's not Deshaun.
It's not Deshaun. Maybe, okay, great.
Kenny Pickett?
Is it Kenny Pickett? No. You signed Flacco to, maybe come, he was out of the retired. What was it last year? You didn't want him. And now all of a sudden you want him back. Like, they don't have anybody. So if I'm the Cleveland Browns and let's back this up. Whether it was Dillon or Shador, they didn't believe that either one of them warranted a first round pick to hand the keys to them and say, hey, it's yours. Let's go. Frankly, nobody in the NFL did. So what they've done is they've created a true competition, right? They drafted Dillon because they felt like he was the best option available for them at that spot. Shador fell to them, and essentially they said, why the hell not, right? If I'm trying to find I won't even say a franchise quarterback, but if I'm trying to find somebody who is going to be a good, reliable starter for us, wouldn't it make more sense to have more options than less options?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I understand like the fear of maybe bringing that circus into there, but
you have no choice. The Browns have no choice.
Right. At this point, I have to imagine that the media circus that has surrounded this draft and Shador's apparent fall will dissipate at some point, right? And at a certain point, you're just going to be NFL football players, and the best player is going to go out there and play. And if I'm the Cleveland Browns and I'm trying to find a quarterback for the future because Flacco ain't it, Deshaun Watson ain't it, Kenny Pickett ain't it, I'd rather have more options than fewer options.
Talk to me about the, you being a quarterback. I think when quarterbacks take visits to teams during this process, right? This interview process, this job interview. How serious are these meetings? How serious are these, throw arounds and all of those types of things? Like, is it something that you go into it with the mindset of, all right, let me be prepped. Let me be ready to go to showcase whatever it is that they are asking me.
I took a trip to your team. I took a trip to Carolina. And, let me back up. So I took a few trips around Kansas City, Washington. Where else did I go? I went somewhere. I can't remember all of them.
Detroit?
I think I went to Detroit, but I don't know that I did. But I went to Carolina. So in all those places, like, hey, I show up to Kansas City, and it wasn't Denny Schuler. Oh man, he was a former Oregon DB on the coaching staff with Dick Vermeil. Shows up in his Letterman's jacket. He's like, Joey, come on, like, it still fits. Let's go. Show up in Washington, and they, pick me up in a car and go have, dinner with Steve Spurrier. And, you knew that there was something there. I showed up to Carolina, and literally like an assistant to the assistant scout came and picked me up from the airport, and we drove to the facility, and we kind of sat there for a little while. And essentially after kind of sitting, I hadn't met with coach yet. I was like, hey, what's the schedule and what's, going on? And he's like, yeah, I'm not really sure, but we just brought you in. We're not going to take you. We just brought you in because we want others to think that we're going to draft you. So I laughed because how serious is this process? I don't
Depends.
know. I mean,
depends on the organization, right? Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
And so the funny thing is like these teams are bringing in. Someone was asking me about how does a guy fall from the 3rd overall pick, potentially, to the 5th round? And I said, you know what? Who said he was potentially going to be the 3rd overall pick?
The media.
Right. Exactly. Right. So if I am X team, name them, that wants somebody else, I'm looking at, I'm really looking at Jackson Dart, or I'm really looking at Tyler Shuck, or I'm really looking at Dillon Gabriel. I want everybody to think that I'm interested in Shedeur. I want everybody to, I'm going to continue to just cycle through that so teams don't know what I'm actually trying to do over here. Like that is the nature of the NFL draft.
Yeah.
So see, I heard that he came in and threw for the Giants, I think, but they also had, they had 2 or 3 other guys come in. I guarantee you they knew who they wanted. Yeah. But they're just trying to perpetuate, make people think that I might go this direction so that nobody else takes the guy that I really want.
And also, too, due diligence, right? Just in case things don't go your way, you have something in your back pocket to make a decision off of.
Yep.
It's interesting.
I think one of the favorite things I saw on social media this weekend was people saying, I don't care about the Epstein files anymore. I want to see those Shedeur Sanders interview tapes to see what really went on and what caused this draft fall. That would be interesting. That'd be fun to see.
I'm with you, Joey. I don't think he was necessarily I think he was a later round valued pick anyway. But I honestly think whatever was done in those meetings, and I just think about the combine and the pro day stuff and sitting out here, sitting out there, it just wasn't dialed in the way it should have been. Because every other player.
Yes, I'm going to ask you something here, Stu, because you're younger than me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm 20 years younger than you.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
I say this as somebody who can acknowledge the fact that I'm the old man yelling at the clouds, right? So if Shedeur was, in the few times I got to see him play, I had to said, late first at best, 2nd round pick. But if the people were talking about the what was it? It was what was the word they kept using? That he was arrogant, or that's what it was. I tell you what, if you're not a cocky, I was a hell of a cocky player.
You gotta be arrogant. You gotta protect yourself.
But the thing that just kind of stuck in the back of my mind as an old man yelling at the crowd was I kept coming back to the watch celebration, right? So if at the end of every game, you go throw on a $100,000 watch and just start showing it around to the crowd, right? And it makes me think that it's about you. It's about you, right? It's centered on you and only you. And again, this may be, me, I've been out of it for so long that everybody, that's the nature of the NFL and hell, even college football now. But for me, it wasn't an arrogance as much as it was a focus on, there was a tape I saw with Cam Ward and Shedeur.
Mm-hmm. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. He said, hey, we should do a song. Mm-hmm. And Cam's like, I'm not trying to do a song. I'm trying to be a NFL football player. He said, you don't have a hobby? And he's like, my hobby is playing NFL football.
He said, I want my bio to read Cam Ward, football player. Right. It's yes.
So that's what it was for me. And I ask again, I can admit that I am far enough removed where someone could say to me, Joe, you're just a stick in the mud. And everybody has record deals and everybody is, driving the cars and wearing the watches. And that doesn't have any impact, but I have to think that it had some impact in a, maybe not a direct, but a back of the mind, is he really committed to this kind of way?
Yeah. Cause I think at the end of the day, these organizations are investing time and resources, plenty of resources, into a guy that's going to lead an organization, lead men, right? And when you give them any like question not to trust you, you kind of lost the battle, right? And I think that's what this is all about, right? It's like, what comes first? Or, you know, do you have the ability to turn the volume down when you need to turn it down? I'm okay with you turning the volume up because we had Cam Newton and Coach Rivera did a fantastic job just in general with every single player by having the ability to meet these guys where they were, right? So having the emotional intelligence from top down to the bottom is super important when it comes to bringing a guy that has a persona, you know, that is popular, that does have a way about him that some teammates might actually appreciate. You know what I'm saying? I like the Shador watch thing. To me, that was him saying it's perfect timing. Like, whatever you guys got to say, like, I know you're talking. This is different. This is different for you, and this is a shock to your system, and it's okay. And a lot of people either had to be won over, or they had to continue to just, you know, live in that salt while he was playing at Colorado, because, you know, the Sanders name carries such a volume, and for him, the maturity level needed to show up in ways such as, hey, you have to go to this combine meeting. Let's turn it down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Don't go mute, because we don't want to mute our guys, right? We want guys to feel free to be who they are. We want them to feel free to have aspirations of being a rapper, to be able to do both. There's been proof that you can do it. And so if you have the ability, you have the support to do so, then go do it, right? But I think it's all about trust. It's not just talent. It's never been just talent. It's, can my coach trust me to go out there on the field and do my job every day?
I was having a conversation with someone about this, and he just reminded me. He had a really interesting, I guess, way to put it. He said, my guess is that a lot of people would think that, and how did he put it? Some people approach it with, what can I do for football? What can I do for this team? Whereas I think that a lot of people thought he was approaching it with, what can this
Do
team
for me?
Right.
Yeah.
That was the disconnect.
Yeah. That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah, definitely. Let me bring it a little bit back to Oregon. Still in the NFL before we go to the spring game. But Joey, what do you see as the future arc, the career arc for Dillon Gabriel? Do you see him, you know, eventually becoming a starter in this league? Do you think he's going to be kind of that career backup? Like, I was talking to Dan Rubenstein last week. We kind of settled on like a Taylor Heineke type career where he can have some flashes and show some stuff, but I don't know if he's ever going to be a established starter in the league. What do you kind of see for him?
Is Taylor Heineke 5'10"?
I don't think he's that tall. Let me look it up while you talk.
Taylor Heineke or Dillon Gabriel?
No, Taylor. I mean, I know that Taylor. Dillon Gabriel's that size.
Here's my immediate thought.
Taylor Heineke's 6'1".
If he doesn't become a starter, I'm curious to see if teams will keep him around. Right? Because if he isn't a starter, he will have, assuming he's had the opportunity to play a little bit, people will make the assumption that at his size, he just couldn't get it done. So why would I keep him around if my job is to have the most steady, reliable backup quarterback that I can? Why would I keep a guy around who probably couldn't get it done because he wasn't big enough anyway to begin with? Right? I almost feel, and this is, just gut reaction when you ask the question, I almost feel like he's either going to become a Steve Young, not necessarily Hall of Fame, but like that kind of like,
out of the pocket.
Yeah, kind of like, hey, I'm playing free. I'm trying to think, maybe Baker Mayfield, right?
Yeah.
That was going to be my comparison.
Be a Baker. I was thinking, either be a Baker type of guy, or I don't know. I'm curious to see if people would keep him around for a long time as a backup. Simply because if you're given the opportunity there aren't too many guys his size in the NFL. Let's be honest. And you and I have both seen where they will bring somebody in, because it's like, hey, I need someone bigger. I frankly, I just need someone who's, if you can do the job this well and you can do the job this well, but you're 5'10", 190 and you're 6'4", 2.25. Thanks. It's been fun. Right. Like that exists to a certain point. So I'm curious to see if he doesn't earn a starting job, how long he does stick around, and if he's able to carve that niche out for himself.
I think the Brown situation, though, he has a great opportunity to like go in there, outwork everybody, and prove that he can actually move the ball down the field. If he can do that and take care of the ball, there's your starter.
Well, you know what I would love to see is this situation reminded me of Washington. What would that have been? RG3 and Kirk Cousins, right? So Flacco comes in, all right, Dillon, go in and work. Just work. Flacco, you're going to play this year. Flacco, you're done. We're going to give Shedeur a shot. Shedeur has his flashes. He has his up. He has his down. And meanwhile, Lil Dillon's just kind of just chopping wood,
Carrying water.
Exactly. And all of a sudden you get a couple years down the road and it's like, this cat's he's been really steady for us. Here you go. Right. I view those two situations similarly, in where Robert Griffin was the shiny, was the shiny piece. It's a little different in that Shedeur was drafted, in the fifth.
Yeah.
Still, like, there's this expectation that he was going to be a first-round pick, that a franchise was at some point going to be handing over the keys to him. So, I really like the situation. I don't for Dillon. I don't think it's a this year thing. It may not even be a next year thing, but I love the idea of him just working.
Yeah. And third round, I mean, you're getting paid pretty good money for them to want to keep you around too. So.
Totally. All right, let's turn to the spring game. I have learned my lesson in the past trying to get Joey on and to have spring game opinions. It's just not his thing. So you're just too level-headed for my chagrin. I don't know why I keep having you on right after the spring game. I should have learned my lesson by now. But I'm going to leave this open to you. No leading questions. I'm not trying to set you up for a breakout quote or anything. You watched some of the game on Saturday. You turned it off, and what was your thought about the Ducks?
Oh! My thought about the Ducks, or what was my thought?
I'll leave that to you.
My thought was I'd rather go watch soccer. That was my thought.
All right. What was your thought about the Ducks?
No, I switched it over to the Premier League. That's what I was like. I would rather. That was my so.
Click.
Ducks was, I hope that nobody gets hurt by the time this thing is over. That was my thought.
When did you turn it off? Do you know?
Second quarter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any flashes?
What's that?
Did you see any flashes of like good, or like was it just bland? Was it just guys playing, powder puff? What was like?
Flashes.
Oh, sure, there's flashes. I saw De'Corian Moore catch fade up the sideline on the first series.
Chase Stu, very, very first pass play of the game was a deep ball to De'Corian on the right side that he had a very nice catch.
First pass play, he threw it to him and he got knocked down.
Second, correct. Right. First completed pass. Yes.
First completed pass. Great ball up the sideline, but he did an incredible job
from Novosad.
And then separating, and then made this catch over his shoulder.
Finding the ball.
It was
pretty.
Yeah,
told you. De'Corian Moore, baby, let's go.
But so here's the thing. That and you know this, like, sure, will he produce at during the game? Of course, but what are we like?
What are we grading here?
We're talking about practice. Like, I have said all along, I am not going to get overly excited or overly negative about a guy until they step foot on Autzen. Step foot on Autzen, at Autzen Stadium in a game situation. Because I could tell you, man, I had some horrible practice days. Horrible. Like dog turd kind of practices. And I had some dog turd first halves in college football games, right? But then the lights came on in the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden something switched, right?
Like come back.
So how do you evaluate that in what you're talking about right now? Like as far as if you are a fan,
that's my point. Is I don't, because I'm not there every day.
Yeah,
right?
but if you're a fan, what?
You don't, because you're not there every day.
Yeah, you're not there every day. But what are some things that you can like leech onto, like as far as okay, this is going to be a player,
Okay.
and to me, you can only evaluate certain positions.
Yep.
You can evaluate a receiver making a catch as long, like if it was dropped right in his lap. Well, was it just a good throw? Was it perfect time? No, he adjusted, right? He has some ability to like make things happen just in case it isn't a perfect ball, right?
I can be excited about somebody.
Yeah.
I can be curious about somebody. I am really curious to see how De'Corian Moore plays this year. I am.
Yeah.
Off that one route. His body control, his ability to find the ball, to stay in bounds, to create that little bit. I mean, because it was great coverage. Dude was like draped on his shoulder.
Theron Johnson, right on him.
Give him a little hip, and then you got it. Like, you watch a running back, right? Vision. You know, does he put his head down and just run straight into the back of his offensive lineman? Is he patient, right?
Yeah.
So patient, and you could see that you can see that in a spring game film. You know, similarly to you can see you could see your strength, and you could see your then breakaway speed. Like those are things that you could get excited about. But you can't, that doesn't mean that like
your excitement doesn't really tell us exactly what's happening. Yeah.
Like a great example, Alan Amundsen. I don't know if you remember that name. Was he around when he was probably gone by the time you got there? I was, so it was my senior year, and Jimmy Rad had me, he had me on we were running 40s, and he had the stopwatch, right? And he had me on the flip side on the electronic. And Alan Amundsen, tailback, great guy. I think he's actually a police officer in Springfield now, maybe in Eugene. But he got up there, little guy, and boom, takes off. Rad's on him, boom, and he stopped. And I'm looking at, so I'm on this side behind the electric
clock
side of the finish line, and I see him click, and he looked over to me. He says, "What does that say?" And I looked at the thing, and it said 4-2-3.
Jeez.
And he's like, "That's what I thought." Alan, go back and run it again. Alan goes back, and takes time, comes back up to the line, runs it again. Rad hits it, and I could see him smirk. And he looks up at me. He goes, "What's yours say?" I said 4-2-1.
Oh my gosh!
And he put it up. He was a 4-1-3.
Wow!
And so I think Alan ended up with 4-1-9, like officially on the record board.
Yeah,
but so hold on. Does anybody know Alan Amundsen's name?
No.
Right. So that's my point. Yeah, Alan scored the last touchdown for us against Arizona State. Double overtime. He's the one who took that in. Touchdown in the end zone. Bam, we win my junior year 56-55. He had a couple great moments. But if you saw him run, you would have thought, "Oh my God, like this kid is going to be the next thing."
Yeah, it's like Jackie Bates.
There's so much more that goes into it that we don't see in a spring game. We don't see like the coaches see every day in practice. And then when the lights come on, we'll see who, like you said, I don't want a guy who's just going to run, I don't care what you do straight line speed, but what can you do over the middle? How can you make plays? How can you move the chains? All those little things that go into it that are different than just seeing something flash on a TV and say, oh my God, he's going to be the player.
There's a level of comparison there with the spring ball in this draft as far as a lesson that everybody should take into consideration. We can be excited about players.
Yep.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that we know what's going on behind closed doors.
Yep.
Only the people behind those doors knows really what's going on. So we can just be excited and twirl our thumbs until those guys step on the field. And I think that's been really kind of my lesson as a fan getting into this space. I have to channel myself, check myself a lot. Oh man, I'm super excited about this player. Oh, he's going to be great. Like last year, I was like, oh, I blindly trusted that we would be in the championship last year. And I was really close.
No, you're close. We thought Jay Harris was the next coming.
Yeah. So
that's why I always wait. That's why I just wait. I wait to see what they actually do in a game.
Yeah. So all the fans and all the viewers listening, be excited and just wait.
Yeah.
I had a game to play with you guys, and I've been while you're talking, I've just in my head is this going to be a terrible idea? Just the way this conversation.
I love it already.
I think I think this might land horribly, but we're still going to go through it. I want to do a stock draft. If you were buying stock in some players that you think is gonna increase, that is, I think it kind of goes along with what we're saying. You can be excited about them. You need to wait and see. So you can pick high stock guys. I mean, you're buying high on, they might still increase, or low stock guys. You think this is actually going to be someone. So I say we pick 2 guys each. Joey, I'm going to start with you. Who is a young or a player on this roster that you want to buy stock in right now? Because you think either this year and the next couple of years that they are going to be really, really good.
Okay, well let's go to. I'm going to take this in two ways. De'Corian Moore is going to be Bitcoin for me, right?
Yeah.
You buy it at it's $18,000 a Bitcoin, right? Oh my God, that's no way. There's no way that thing is going to. And I'm not talking about the volatility of the Bitcoin. Well, maybe as a freshman you'll have volatility, but I'm talking about somebody that you buy high and think is going to go higher, right? Because I can't think of another player. Maybe Dylan Raiola, but the amount of hype that this guy had coming out of high school, he's already a blue chip stock. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to buy him thinking that he's going to be even better in college, right? That's my buy high and go higher guy.
I literally wrote on DucksWire this morning that Kenyon Sadiq was my version of Bitcoin, because I was like, if you're buying right now, he's already pretty high, but I think he can go quite a bit higher in the next couple of years too. So yeah, good analogy. Yeah. Jay Stu, you got one?
Well, I have to go some Uber stock. Dewan Riggs.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
I think once Uber and all these electric cars get in alignment and they just have a button to press one day and just basically sends all these electrical vehicles out to do their errands and pick up things and drop things off, Uber stock is just going to go through the roof. And I think once you unleash Dewan Riggs to do his thing, sky's the limit for that kid, man. We've had plenty of people talk on our show and basically validate how I felt about him. A LaMichael-esque. As far as the twitch that he has, the way he runs, there's just a little bit more impact there. So
just after this is not who I'm picking, but after watching this weekend, I think that we need to take a little bit of accountability. I think that we have been overlooking Jaden Lamar. He looked like maybe the best running back out there in that game. I know, small sample size, spring game, everything we've talked about. He looks really good. I think that he's going to have a legitimate role in this offense. So we just should just keep that in the back of our minds going forward, because we've not talked about him at all this spring. But he's a good player, man.
Our bad.
Yeah.
No, it's your bad. You're there. You should be at least. You should go over there and spy with some binoculars. Go hang up in those trees, man.
They would take my credentials in an instant
if they catch you.
Here's my buy low and hold. Luke Moga.
I like it. He looked good.
He's that's why I asked you how do you finish. Like, that was my first question: is how do you finish up?
Yeah. 6 for 13, 112 yards, 1 touchdown.
I'm really curious because he's not going to play this year, right? There's so much volatility at the quarterback position that it's going to be. Let's call a spade. Oregon has had a pretty much a revolving door at quarterback for a while now, right? Mm-hmm. I think between Dante and Novosad, you're going to have at least some stability, which will allow a guy like Luke to develop. Okay. And then when that situation presents itself, or, I say changes over, I think he's going to be in a really good position to step in. I like, and again, like, this is somebody that I'm buying on futures, right? It ain't going to be this year. This is my 401k plan. This is something that, is steadily going to get bigger, is going to grow over time, so that in a couple of years that he's going to be ready to go.
A true developed player.
Can we do that anymore? I don't think college football does that anymore.
We try. Well, that's the thing. Are you developing him for the starting quarterback at Oregon? Are you going to develop him for the starting quarterback somewhere else?
Yeah, somewhere else.
Who knows? I hope he gets to play somewhere, though, because he is a very talented player. I think that he can have a bright future.
Yep.
You got a buy low guy?
Before I answer that, how is Braden Platt?
He looked good. He looked really good. So that's one thing we talked about all spring, is that we thought that they might need to go into the portal for a linebacker because they're just very thin at depth. And Devin Jackson didn't even play in this game. He's injured. I don't know what he injured, but then Dan came out after the game and said flat out to us when asked the question, he's like, we're not going into the portal for a linebacker this year. I like the guys we have. We are keeping these guys. We're not adding another one. So it's like, okay, that's the biggest vote of confidence you can give in that room. So,
well, with that being said, Braden Platt is my buy low.
I like that.
And only because, and so we don't know anything about these guys, right? Besides what Zach is telling us. But one of the things that I liked about Braden, being from Washington, around my hometown, he's an athlete, right? And played running back. He played linebacker. He what track event did he do that he has the national record for?
Was he a discus shot put? He was some sort of thrower.
The hammer throw.
The hammer. Okay.
He threw the hammer?
Yeah. So the body control. So I mean, this guy's an athlete, bro. So if he has any sense, he would be taking notes from Betcher, right? I want to be your understudy. So hopefully he has that approach, and it's good to hear that you say that he was good. So that's why I'm gonna go Braden Platt.
He had 5 tackles, 1 sack, and 2 tackles for loss in the game.
Well, he's going to be a superstar then.
Superstar.
Spring game.
Spring game.
All right, we're going back to the natty.
Be all end all. I think for my buy low, I'm going to go with redshirt freshman wide receiver Dylan Gresham. He had a really good game. He was probably the best performing receiver at the game. He had 3 catches for 96 yards and a touchdown. Took a slant over the middle for 56 yards and a touchdown. But his best play came on a go route down the left sideline where he just laid out for a ball and came down with it. He was a guy, buy low. Oregon's wide receiver room is so stacked right now that I don't think he's gonna get playing time this year. He might be in the rotation next year, but I think he showed that he can be a really legitimate player down the road. He's someone that I just, we haven't talked about him all year, all spring. Didn't talk about him all last year, but on Saturday it was like, oh, okay, they've got someone here. This can be a guy down the road
if people stick around. And that's
if
again
people stick around. That's it.
Like, I'm watching the spring game, and it's like, how many of these guys are actually going to be on roster next year?
Totally. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like training camp for us. Like, you don't want to get too connected to guys that are on the team because everybody's not going to be there. I remember my rookie year, man, my heart like broke. I connected with a lot of guys my rookie year, and when the day of the first cuts came to work and went by a buddy's locker room and locker space, and he wasn't there, and I was like, wait, what happened? Like, oh, this is cut day. I'm like, oh, jeez.
I understand what that NFL locker room is. You go from 90 guys to 50, 53, 54.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, imagine half the room is gone.
Yeah, poof.
It's tough. All right, can we close on some golf talk?
Yeah, we do. I have a question for you, Zach.
Yes, please.
Let's say I'm going to have you. Okay, the game for you is going to be compare golf courses to fine metals, like value. So Emerald Valley would be compared to a what? Would be like, what precious metal would it be compared to?
Are we doing like nationwide golf courses, Oregon golf courses, or
Emerald Valley?
I feel like I have to say it. Oh, that's not a metal. I was going to say an emerald. That's just too easy. But
an emerald. Okay.
Okay, so, sure.
What about emerald? Tokatee?
Man, Tokatee's nice.
What the heck is a Tokatee?
Tokatee's. It's a local course that's probably an hour outside of town.
Like a Indian name?
Is it an Indian name?
Silver,
Sure. It's a silver.
How would you compare Bandon? What would Bandon be?
I mean, Bandon is a diamond. It's the nicest course in Oregon.
If somebody offered,
where we're going.
If somebody,
I see where this is going here. I see where this is going.
Handful of diamonds. Here's a handful of diamonds. And not only is here a handful of diamonds, but in fact, you had asked me to give you those.
Yeah, diamonds. Let me get those diamonds, dog.
Can you give me diamonds? And I said, you know what? These diamonds are really rare, and there aren't a whole lot to go around. But when I do have one, I will give you a handful. And then when I offered that handful of diamonds, you said, "Nah, cool. I'm good. No thanks."
No, it wasn't like it wasn't a nah. Cool. I'm good. I'm cool. It was more so. It was. Dang. You know what? I was offered this bronze, and I said that I was gonna take it. Uh-huh. So I'm a man of my word.
Joey, I just went back in our text, and I think my 2 exact words were his mistake. Because that was absolutely his mistake for not taking that handful of diamonds.
Shows because I think the last time we were on here, he spent 20 minutes
listen. I remember
that invite. I need the invite. You are going to give me. I'm going to steal it from Justin Herbert. I'm going to take it. We're going to play off. He went down a list of like all the ways that he was going to take it, and then when I hand him the diamond, he was like, "Nah, good. I'm cool."
Joey, this is just the makings of when I do come to this tournament.
Oh, you assume that people get offered diamonds on multiple occasions?
Listen.
Like this
Joey, don't do this to me.
If
Joey, don't do this. Don't do this.
No, that's okay. You're not going to go back and say, "Here's the diamond."
I'm a guy that is a man of his word. That's all a man ever has. Okay, I said yes to something. You came to me with an offer. And I had to simply say, man, that falls on a day that I have a commitment. And so if I get stoned for being a man that's a man by his word, then so be it. Stone me.
A diamond's a stone. I could throw a bunch of diamonds at you.
Joey, there does happen to be a member of this podcast who would take a handful of diamonds if offered. Just throwing that out there, letting that be.
But I will say, Joey, despite your golf tournament, I would love to actually dial up some golf with you.
Get out here.
So
all you got to do.
I know I'll be out there in August, I think.
Perfect.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
And the weather's supposed to be better, and I mean, it's better than Charlotte. It's steaming
nice
out
here in August. It's perfect in August.
But I'm supposed to be out there in August in Washington, so maybe I can come down to Oregon.
You got my number.
Yeah,
Joey, what I really want to do is
thanks for the diamonds, though, man. I love you, buddy. So bad.
Joey, I don't think you heard my golf story from a couple of weeks ago, so I just have to bring it back up for you. I told Jay Stu, and he was amazed.
Go.
We're playing, so of course, with my second kid last September.
Boy.
I had not played golf, had not touched a club in 7 months.
Okay.
Went out to men's league, just 9-hole match play at Emerald Valley.
Okay.
5th hole, hadn't touched a golf club in 7 months. Hole in one.
Lord. Joey, have you ever had a hole in one?
I'm sure he has.
Okay, so I was at Druid Hills in Atlanta. That was where I was a member when I was with the Falcons.
Nice, dude.
6th hole, buck 38, uphill a little bit, couldn't see the bottom of the pin, hit one up there, walk up to the green, and I was like, oh man, not there, must have gone to collection area. So I get on to the collection area, not there. I was like, did it hit like a sprinkler head and like skip into and I'm scraping the grass on the edge of the water there. I was like, man, what happened? And my buddy says, you think it's in the hole? No. And he walks over. Hold on, you got to wait for this. So he walks over and he looks down and he looks back at me. I was like, well, and he looks down again. He looks back at me. I said, is it in there? And as soon as I say that, we're on 6. This guy comes up 11. He's like, sorry. Lost it off the tee. And Kevin goes, what are you playing? The Titleist 3. Yeah, I got it. Oh, man, where is it? And he says, it's in the hole with his ball.
Oh,
Two balls in the hole at the same time. His came off the on this side of the pin. Mine came off the 6th tee on that side of the pin. 2 holes, same ball, same time.
What?
That's incredible.
That's insane.
The next time I go play the course, it was at the member guest, and I was telling the story. I was like, you're never going to believe what happened. Oh, my God. It was the same. The pin was just about in the same spot at the same club. I'm going to, knocked it up there, walked up, didn't see the ball, and someone says, you've got to be kidding me. 2 in 13 days on the same
hole. In the same hole. All right.
So does that I have so many questions. So, like,
that's incredible.
Does that happen often where
I've never heard
someone off the tee just like lands on the wrong green? Like,
I've never heard that.
It's a pretty bad shot.
I mean,
he had to hook it left or spray it right. What do you have to do?
Yeah,
man. Wow. Congrats to you both. I'm still in search of my hole in one.
The cap on, or the cherry on top, was 2 summers ago. Jack, my oldest, was with us. It was my dad, my youngest brother Nick, and Jack, and we were playing at Tokatee. 7 in the morning, we're first off, and coming up, the sun's coming up on 8, and I hit a 4-iron up there and couldn't quite see it. And my brother was up, and he said he heard just a click, and he said, I hit it in, and we couldn't see it because of the shadows. And again, sure enough, walk on up. And
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Phew. What's the key, man? Do you have a weak grip or a strong grip?
I have to double wrap moleskin, and I wear a neoprene brace because of my wrist reconstruction.
Man, you're old.
I think I'm after my wrist fused at the end of the summer. So
after golf season, just wait.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm gonna try and get through golf season and then see how it goes. But my grip just kind of evolves based on pain. So
you move it around.
Yeah,
that's fair.
You just got to be an athlete, Stu. I mean, that's
what I tell myself.
Like,
worst athlete in this podcast right now, one who does not have a hole in one.
Yeah, I was close. I got really close.
You put it on the green? That's awesome.
No, man. I put it on the green often. But I actually thought it went in, and I ran all the way up, and I was like, oh man, it's right next to because it kind of hid behind the pin.
You see it,
like rolled and then another time it like landed right next to the hole. It's actually on Instagram. You guys can go check it out.
Yeah, I saw you post that one.
like, right
The ball mark is right there, and the ball is right there. It's like just roll the other way.
Just go to your home. Just go in.
I loved mine because it was like 147 9-iron. I landed about 153 and then watched it spin back.
Zipped it back?
Zipped it back. It was like
the English.
Wait,
it was one of those. It was one of those things where you don't play in 7 months. Barely, I hit a small bucket before the round, and it's like, all right, I just lost all of my bad habits. So that's how.
Joey, how nervous were you about Rory the other week?
Oh God. It's like, God. You knew it was going to happen. The moment he had a 4-stroke lead coming into the back nine, you knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
God, we don't need to recap. But that wedge he hit on 13.
Oh incredible. Man,
I thought that was it. I thought that was done.
Yeah,
and then we come back and birdie. I mean,
that shot on 15, unbelievable, and the shot on 17.
Do you think if you were him and you had this like monkey on your back of not winning the Masters, right? The amount of stress and the pressure going into every match, trying to stay dialed in, playing tight sometimes maybe or whatever, but then knowing that you just won the match you've been wanting to win all your life, and now you're complete, basically. He might be the most dangerous player on tour now.
I wondered if like you can go one of two ways, right? And we've both seen it. It's like, I'm here, I've arrived, right? The guy who gets the contract in the NFL or the NBA or whatever it is, and like, I got it, I'm done.
Yeah.
And then there's the guy who is like, oh yeah, no, now that I'm
hungry. I'm hungry.
Free. Now that I'm ready to go,
I can play free. Yeah.
Now it's
no feeling like making that double bogey putt from 30 feet away when you don't care.
he started to shut down or started to get really conservative on 13, right? Gets off the tee, lays up, dunks a wedge in the water. I wonder, like, that might have been the best thing to happen to him for him to say, screw this. If I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna go down swinging. And then he came out and got aggressive. But that what was it, 7-iron on 15?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, 198 yards 7-iron. Who Dottie had. Dottie says, yes, Jim, he's got to start this one underneath the branch. He's got to hit a low ball that then rises and takes a sharp
real hook. Yeah,
lands on the hood of a Volkswagen. It's like.
Got it. Starts
That's
walking
exactly what he does.
Joey, will you tell Jay Stu how fun the Masters pool is? Because he said he was going to get in, but then he ghosted all of my texts right before and didn't join.
Oh, it sucked this year.
Oh, I mean, you sucked, but the pool is fun.
Sucked, yeah. Well, but what if I suck, then it's terrible, and it's
so
not fun.
I missed the bullet, is what you're saying.
What you could have done, you could have like jumped. You could have been like, you could have piled on and been like, Joey, you suck, and like you could have really like driven the nail in. I picked the wrong brother.
The Højgaard.
Højgaard.
You picked like what, Nick, and it was Rasmus who had the good day. The number of texts that I get from friends that are like, "Oh yeah, I killed Joey this year. It feels so good."
Everybody killed Joey this year.
Yeah. All right, we need to get out of here. Jay Stu, do you have anything else to add?
I got something to add. Tell your friends this.
Please.
I walked into the Masters in 2002, and I walked in and I had missed. I had to walk in a little bit late, and I walked in and Padraig was 6 under par, and so at the top of the leaderboard on the first day at the Masters, it said Harrington. I was like, tell your friends ask your friends if they've ever seen their own name on the leaderboard at the Masters.
Yeah, it's very true. Yeah, we'll always have that. No. That's good.
No, man, golf is life apparently, because this is the PGA is coming to Charlotte. So if you guys are feeling froggy and you want to make a leap to Charlotte to watch the PGA,
I
Sorry,
don't think
missed
that's in my future. I gotta be honest.
A little
I love. We
bronze.
came
I'll
on
throw a
to
little bronze to you.
I'm busy.
we came on to talk about the spring game. We talked about 30 minutes of the NFL, 30 minutes of golf, and about 10 minutes of the spring game. This is just right up Joey's alley.
Hey, it's good by me.
All right, man. Well, we will have you on. We'll get you on around the season comes, and we'll talk about some real football. That work?
Once there's been a game at Autzen, I'm in.
All right, deal. We'll wait for that first game, then we'll have you on.
All right, fellas.
All right, man. Thank you.
See you guys.
Easy.